Day 2 up here in the mountains with Allie the mountain dog. I love that knife. It has 3 adventures under its belt with me, each one involving a fair amount of snow and or rain, passed with flying colors. That is the Kizlyar Sterkh-1, if I'm saying it right. Yes, it is an unusual name, an unusual knife. You don't see it very often. It hails from Russia. This is a Nutnfancy tabletop review. I can't really think of anything I don't like about this small to medium-sized stainless steel camp knife. Okay, here's one. I guess it's going to be hard for you to find it. And if you're an outdoorsman like myself, watching this review is going to make you want one, because it gets just about all the design elements that are important to me as a backpacker, a camp knife user, right. As you'll see when we jump into the details, well, heck, right now. It's first and foremost a camp knife when we talk about philosophy of use. And if you watched my Jeremiah Johnson adventure, me and Allie the mountain dog went out. I filmed that one. Used this knife a lot. I used it mostly for kindling preparation for the fire, some for food preparation. I've been testing knives for a long time now here in the Nutnfancy project. I can generally have a good idea of how they're going to perform in the out of doors. Even in hard, cold circumstances, sometimes I am surprised. I was not with this one. By looking at its classic, perhaps even Scandinavian derived design elements, I had high hopes. It's flat ground, as you can see, and yes, it just performed in excellent fashion up there. Camp knife, woods knife, is its primary calling. I love that classic blade shape, by the way. Just love it. Perfect flat ground once again. The steel choice is unusual, and it's called Z50 in this one. I think it's a French steel, and this one may have Z60 in it, but it's analogous from my research to AUS 8. And I found that it held an edge quite well. Not perfectly, but any steel I've used up there will dull. More importantly, it didn't rust on me that I can see. See the relief edge right there. Out of box, it's adequately sharp. It needs to be resharpened at this point because it's been thumped on by me. There's some mystery to this blade, not just by the Z50, Z60 steel. I think it's Z50. It's weird because even the Kizlyar website here in the US doesn't list a steel type. One of the mysteries is I don't know what the blade coating is. I think it might be DLC because from my use, as you can see, it lasted pretty good. Usually Teflon coating will rub off quickly on that. So back to philosophy of use, camp knife, tactical blade. Yeah, I would say so. It's a high traction blade, and it's very light for integration into LBE systems if you're a soldier. Yeah, we're going to take a closer look at the sheath here in a second. It's kind of, because it's unusual, maybe it's a collectible knife for you as well. I'll just leave it at that. The weight is one of the things I really love about the Kizlyar Sterkh-1. And by the way, I think this comes in different versions. I've seen some wood versions run around. Actually, one's equipped with leather in years past. I'm talking about the sheath. The weight is 9.6, and that's complete carry weight. Sheath and knife. The knife is even lighter than that, but on this review, I'm just going to roll them together because the sheath is so perfect for it. Balance is excellent. Another mystery I guess I have is I don't know if it's a full-tang knife. I suspect it is not, from that weight. Usually if you have a full-tang knife, it's going to add some weight to it. You can see the thickness of the blade tapering towards a tip, which is actually pretty precise and yet not delicate. kind of a drop point shape on that blade. Nothing I would change about that. Even without jimping, I'm okay with it because, and we'll talk about it right now, it has an elastron handle, basically a rubber handle, and it's high traction. Just like we've seen in some cold steel knives, this one actually seems a little bit tougher. So it's more polymer, less rubber. Some of the Kraton handles actually with hard use can wear down. From my 3 outings of using this knife, I didn't see any wear on it. And because it is so high traction, again, we could flex into a tactical philosophy of use with it. There's your lanyard ring if you wanted it. I really like the handle. And it's large enough for me. That's kind of unusual for a European knife. A lot of them will have the very short handles. And so if you're a large-sized hand dude like myself, you might run out of some real estate there. That takes it to the sheath. Pretty much perfect is what I'm going to say about this sheath. It's plastic. That's my favorite sheath material for an outdoors blade. You might be surprised, but like I've said in other videos, Kydex is heavier. I mean, I'm going to show you this as a competitive option. SOG Northwest Ranger with a Red Hill Kydex sheath. That's a beautiful setup, but it's going to be heavier because of the Kydex. This is a perfect sheath. There's a retention tab right here. Let's see how it sounds and fits into the sheath. Without the snap, it retains, and you can thank that Elastron polymer handle for that because it has a friction tab and also there's some, I don't know, resistance for it falling out. Any knife that has a plastic sheath should have that without the tab, says I. Because if you're in a hurry, you're cold, you forget to snap the tab, you're not going to lose your knife. Really high quality nylon here for a loop over snap style sheath, no Velcro. Good job, Kizlyar, in that. It's almost like the people who put this knife together know what it's like to use a knife in the snow. And that's what I am primarily when I use these knives. It's the hardest use I can put on it is snow use. Good snaps, are blackened, good quality. I just love it. It's not a MOLLE compatible sheath. That's why it's riding with some of my hollowed out 550 cord. Because I did run and gun with this knife, strapped it on LBE just to see how it would ride, upside down no less, and it was fine. I didn't fall out. It's not ideal for that because it's not MOLLEized, if you will. It works so. Drainage hole on the back, it's riveted. That's a good sheath. It's perfect for me. I'd much prefer it over a leather sheath. The overall quality on the Sterkh-1 I think is excellent. Price is going to be retail $120. I think when I scored this, it was on sale for like 85 bucks. I bought it at Impact Guns like 2 years ago. As soon as I saw it, I was like drawn to it. I was like, what is that knife? That is a nice woods knife. Glad I got it. Made in Russia. All right, man. Here comes some competitive offerings. You saw one already. It is a standard of measure for a mid-sized stainless steel camp knife. Say hello again to SOG Northwest Ranger. This is one that I have not yet thumped on. It's AUS 8 steel. Knife itself is 5.6 ounces, 8.6 total carry weight with the stock sheath. With this one, I think it's going to be like 10.5, 10, something like that. MOLLE sheath. That's a really high quality. Kydex, love it. The cost on a Northwest Ranger is around $51. And it also has a very nice grip on it, large lanyard hole. This one has jimping on it. It is a standard of measure woods blade. If I was going to choose between the SOG Northwest Ranger and the Kizlyar, I'd probably go Northwest Ranger still. It's really close, though. I got to tell you, it's really close because they're basically the same style of knife, same style of steel for that matter. Here's one that I have not reviewed yet. I'm planning on it, but I would really like to get some use on it first, and it's a Falkneven S1 forest knife. No. That's a great little blade. 6.8 ounces, 9.8 ounces total carry weight with a very nice, simple plastic sheath. VG10 laminate steel, about 140 bucks. This is a blackened version of the forest knife. Falkneven. Exposed full tang on that. That's a full tang blade right there. Look how thick that one is too. I really, actually, for what I do with blades of this size, I don't have any reservations on the Sterkh-1 for strength. One reason the knife is so light is because of the thickness they chose for that steel. In fact, if I heft these two versus a SOG Northwest Ranger, this is actually a little bit lighter. Competitive offerings. I reviewed this one. Man, do I still love it. It's a Tops Poseidon Light Traveler. Total carry weight 11 ounces, 154 cm steel, about 130 bucks. Camp knife extraordinaire. Great handle on that lanyard. It's just a beautiful knife. Very functional, flat ground. Love it. How about this one? I reviewed this back in 2008. Still awesome. Cold Steel SRK. Osate steel. Same style of steel. 11.4 ounces. Going to be heavier than pretty much every knife on the table. It's going to be cheaper though. It's about $60, $65. This one's wrapped in just some ACU camo form that you've seen before. Cold Steel SRK. Reference soldier blade. And pretty much every knife on this table is a soldier blade. High utility, defensive use if you need to. Primarily food preparation, camp knife, utility knife. And they're not so heavy they're going to weigh you down. Speaking of not weighing you down, how about you check out the Mora Bushcraft Triflex at 5 ounces and $25. Shut up. There's a Scandi grind for you. A lot of bushcrafters prefer that. Triflex steel, it's a carbon steel. I really hard use this one. Nice, comfortable handle on it. Super sheath on it. Mora Bushcraft Triflex. Good option for it. But getting back to the Kizlyar Sterkh-1, I love the knife. Love it. Kind of, again, a Scandinavian blade shape. Traditional, upgraded to very modern materials. And I think the price is definitely in the ballpark for what you're getting. In my cutting tasks, again, food prep, fire prep, great blade. Highly recommended if you can score it. It has two kinds of cool to it. That's the Nutnfancy review.